Okay, so I completely lied. The introduction is actually longer than I realized. It's the entire first half, so there's probably like 20 or so more pages. So we'll just continue on with Inner Work, Seeking the Unconscious. The purpose of this book is to provide a practical step-by-step approach to doing your own inner work. Specifically, you will find a 4-step method for both dream work and active imagination. As part of our exploration, we will also touch on the issues of ceremony and fantasy as avenues into the unconscious. I refer to these techniques as inner work because they are direct, powerful ways of approaching the inner world of the unconscious. Inner work is the effort by which we gain awareness of the deeper layers of consciousness within us and move toward integration of the total self. A practical approach is needed, regardless of how sophisticated we may be on the theoretical level. Though all of us have been exposed to a number of psychological theories, few have a sense of how to get started in actually working with dreams and with the unconscious. Usually our energy stays where it started, on the level of theory, and does not translate into a concrete, immediate encounter with the inner self. In the world of psyche, it is your work, rather than your theoretical ideas, that builds consciousness. If we go to our own dreams and sincerely work with the symbols that we find there, we generally learn most of us. Sorry, let me read that over again. I'm starting to see that it's getting darker outside. I hope that it's not becoming... We'll see later. Let me just start over with that part here. In the world of psyche, it is your work rather than your theoretical ideas that builds consciousness. If we go to our own dreams and sincerely work with the symbols that we find there, we generally learn most of what we need to know about ourselves and the meaning of our lives, regardless of how much we know of the psychological theories involved. The point of inner work is to build consciousness. By learning to do your own inner work, you gain insight into the conflicts and challenges that your life presents. You are able to search the hidden depths of your own unconscious to find the strengths and resources that wait to be discovered there. Remember, he says that all of the unconscious abilities and powers that are there to be discovered are waiting for the conscious mind that is seeking them through this inner work. Actually, any form of meditation that opens our minds to the messages of the unconscious can be called inner work. That goes back to what I was saying in the last video. It doesn't have to be through this book or any other book or any person, a guru or spiritual guide or new age person that's going to tell you that if you take their course for $999, since it's an angel number, it's going to get you what you need to know, what you need. And Angel Quintana says this. She says when she was in her huge search for what to do and how to figure everything out for her business, her spiritual business, she was like, what I needed was myself. She spent so much money putting out to all these different people that say they're gonna tell you exactly what you need to know to help you to do what you want to do, but really what you need is a good long conversation with yourself. Les Brown says that sometimes that's the most intelligent conversation you're going to have, is that conversation with yourself. When you talk to yourself, meaning going within. So let's continue. Humankind has developed an infinite variety of approaches to the inner world, each adapted to a stage of history, a culture, a religion, or a view of our relationship to the spirit. A few examples are yogic meditation, Zazen and Zen Buddhism, Christian contemplative prayer, the meditations on the life of Christ practiced by Thomas A. Kempis and Ignatius of Loyola, Sufi meditation, and ethical meditation in Confucian's philosophy. To go back to that one name, Thomas A., it's accented A, and last name is Kempis, Kempis, and Ignatius is Ignatius of Loyola, in case you needed to look or wanted to look them up. Excuse me. And ethical meditation in Confucian philosophy. Jung observed that the Aboriginal people of Australia spend 2/3 of their waking lives in some form of inner work. They do religious ceremony, discuss and interpret their dreams, make spirit quests, go walk about. All this consistent effort is devoted to the inner life, to the realm of dreams, totems, and spirits, that is, to making contact with the unconscious. We modern people can scarcely get a few hours free and an entire week to devote to the inner world. This is why, for all our technology, we may know less of our souls and less of God than seemingly primitive people do. Remember, in Emerson's Self-Reliance, he just said that with all our technology, it's almost mirroring, right? With all our technological advances, who's the wiser? The primitive person who has learned their surroundings and has so developed their body that a blow to them on the head with a certain axe or whatnot, they can re-heal their skin and do certain medications and healing techniques to heal them because their body is made stronger than they said of the non-Aboriginal person that goes there. That same strike would knock them dead. They would not be able to heal themselves in the same way because we've been so focused on creating the new gadget or iPhone or whatnot and not on how to develop ourselves so much so that we can connect with others on a non-verbal level, for example, telepathy, all kinds of things, meditation, levitation, all kind of cool stuff that could be going on, but we're not working on it. We're not working on the evolution of our consciousness, which this book says is our responsibility to carry forward the evolution of consciousness. So let's continue. But there is another basic difference between us and the Aboriginal peoples. They have held on to their ancient forms of worship and of approaching the inner world. When they choose to go to the spirit, there is a prescribed way to do the spirit quest, a prescribed way to understand the dreams and visions, a prescribed ceremony for meeting the gods in the magic circle or at the altar. For us, most of the old ways are gone. Those of us who want to learn once again how to walk in the land of dreaming, to communicate with the great spirits, have to learn afresh how to go to our dreams, how to rekindle ancient fires from the energy of the unconscious, how to reawaken tribal memories long forgotten. We have to go to a modern-day shaman like Carl Jung to find a way to the soul that makes sense to our modern mind. The forms of inner work that we will explore are based on the teachings and insights of Jung. Dream work is derived, of course, from Jungian dream analysis. It involves learning to read the symbolic language of dreams. Active imagination is a special way of using the power of the imagination to develop a working relationship between the conscious mind and the unconscious. It is an age-old process that Jung formulated into a technique that modern people could use. Active imagination is not like some current visualization techniques in which one imagines something with a goal in mind. There is no script. Active imagination has a completely different relationship with the unconscious, one based on recognition of its reality and power. Remember, he said that it's about respecting the unconscious mind, so you approach it in a certain way. In active imagination, you go to your unconscious to find out what is there and to learn what it has to offer to the conscious mind. The unconscious is not something to be manipulated to suit the purposes of the conscious mind, but an equal partner to engage in dialogue that leads to fuller maturity. Many people are aware that the unconscious communicates to our conscious minds through dreams. Many have learned theories of how to interpret their dreams, but most of us become paralyzed when we try to work with our own specific dreams. Here is a familiar scenario. I awaken with a vivid dream. I decide to try to do it on my own. I dutifully write the dream in my notebook. I sit down to interpret. Suddenly my mind goes blank. I ask myself, what am I supposed to do? Where do I start? I stare at the page. The dream seems either completely obvious or utterly meaningless. Sometimes we make a stab at finding some associations for the dream images, but we lose patience. We sense that we have missed the point. We decide to come back another day and try again. But by then, other things have claimed us. It's so true. I've tried to do a dream journal, and part of the task is even just remembering what the dream was. And usually we only remember a small iota of it. So the last thing that happened is what you remember. But if you don't write it down right then, you think, oh, that was so profound that I'm going to remember it. And then like 10 minutes go by and you're like, I have no idea what the heck I was going to even write, right? So there's a specific method to this. And I've even heard that you can set an intention before going to bed that you're going to wake up and have 100% dream recall. So there's different things that we need to learn about how to approach sleeping, dream time. It's just, you need to learn how to do all these things that we take for granted. Thinking, breathing, how we eat, how we sleep. Those are all actually in Wallace D. Wattles' The Science of Being